oh, are they gonna get rid of Amazon influencer? Like, no, they're definitely not gonna get rid of Amazon influencer. Like,
No.
I'd be like, are they gonna get rid of the Amazon seller program? Like, no, it's
Yeah.
been, 12 plus years that they've been doing this. And to your point, they're just building a better infrastructure because now they're seeing what people are doing.
Welcome, everybody. I have my very good friend, Kathleen Kobel, joining me today for a conversation about Amazon influencer. And Kathleen and I have been friends for a very long time. We met, though, because we were both in the Amazon space. So we have just like talked and talked and talked about like selling on Amazon, running agency and ads and all sorts of things. And then almost 2 years ago now, Kathleen called me and was like, okay, Amazon influencer. You love all things Amazon. You should try this. And told me about the Amazon influencer program. And it's been amazing. So haven't looked back, but Kathleen, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Liz. I just gotta say, like, I kind of classify us as like Amazon nerds, like we are the coolest Amazon nerds that I know because every time, I love that every time we see something, we're just texting, like, did you see this? Did you see that? And like, I can't do that with anyone else because no one else cares as much about being an Amazon nerd as you and I do. So I really appreciate you for that, amongst all the other friendship things that we've
Yeah.
had. But the Amazon stuff, it's just really cool to be able to connect with someone who cares just as much as I do.
Yeah. Well, when we met, it was on 5 Minute Pitch, right?
Yep.
So like
Yep.
back when Jungle Scout, Steve Chu, Mike Jackness, Scott Voker were doing like a $50,000 Shark Tank style giveaway. And I was like I don't know what title they gave me, like the producer or
You were the
something, right?
producer. Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. You were
And the
in charge. Yeah.
voiceover,
Yes.
that's how I got my start in voiceover work. But you and I met because you were a contestant and pitching a business. And I think I sent you an email afterwards and was like, I know this is so weird, but do you want to be friends with me?
And when I got your email, I like did a little giddy happy dance and I was like, oh, she wants to be my friend. Yes, 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 please. And like, look where we are now. I
Yeah.
mean, it was one of my favorite experiences was being on 5 Minute Pitch and you not only chose me to be on the show, but like you made it so easy, like just the way
Oh,
you
good.
interviewed me and the thing, like I was nervous, right? And you're
Yeah.
like, no, you got this. You're gonna do great. And I loved every second of it. And then at the end, I was like, oh no, it's over. And when you sent me that email, I was like, it's not over.
It's like the TikTok trend where people are like, how do we make friends as adults? And I was like, well, we're just going for this. So,
Yes, I love it. That's how you make friends. You want
yeah,
something, you ask for it. So I'm
absolutely.
all about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I would love for you to tell the audience a little bit about your Amazon journey because we are a shared Amazon data network here. But tell us a little bit about like kind of the background of how you got into Amazon leading up to influencer.
Sure. So I started selling things on Amazon way back when you could only sell books on there.
Oh, wow.
Um, I had just finished grad school
Hmm.
and naturally was broke because I had to pay for it.
Right.
Uh, and went into a field that paid terribly. So I was like, oh, I was getting married too.
Oh,
So
nice. Of
broke,
course.
no
All the
job.
things.
Right. So all of that kind of, and I found Amazon and was like, oh my gosh, I can like resell my grad school textbooks on
Hmm.
here. Didn't have to create a listing, right? It was just click, I have one to sell. I
Hmm.
sold, I don't know, 6 or 7 books, made $500 in like 10 days. And
Holy
from
smokes.
that point on, I was kind of like addicted to the rush of like, I just made a sale. It was $100. All I have to do is pack this book and bring it to, UPS. Fantastic. So I was just kind of fascinated with the whole business model. And
Hmm.
so like kind of, a couple of years went by and I was working for my uncle actually, who was an entrepreneur,
Oh.
which was one of the greatest experiences of my life. But he's the one that really got me into like online marketing and e-commerce and all that. So he started a new supplement company and I was
Hmm.
learning Amazon. So I approached him. I'm like, hey, can I like sell your supplements on Amazon as like a side thing. You can just pay me per sale. So he was like, sure, why not? So he paid me as like an affiliate kind
Yeah.
of relationship in order to like, I was working for the company, but I started selling his stuff on Amazon for
Mm,
him through his store, and then he'd pay me a commission. And so I went to conferences, I bought
mm.
courses and really just learned all the things about selling on Amazon. I did this for him for quite a few years. And then after I had my first baby, my time became very, very, very valuable. So
Yes.
my daughter was about 15 months old. I quit working for him,
Mm,
which we still have a great relationship. I love, like, he still mentors me. We still talk all the time, or when we can, right? But
yeah.
so then I went out on my own, and I'm like, well, what can I do to
Mm,
make money?
yep.
I've got a family to support now. What do I do? And it just kind of led into Amazon consulting, Amazon selling. And so I
Mm,
formed an agency. I hired a few people once my client list started getting built up. So for a long time there, I helped brands launch on Amazon.
mm,
We would manage their whole Amazon sales channel, doing, consulting with larger brands. So just a lot
yeah.
of the seller stuff. I did a lot of retail arbitrage, did some white label stuff. So just really selling on Amazon, consulting, all that for like 10 years, I
Yep.
think. And, when you do anything for 10 years, you kind of start to get burnt out a little bit. And so, the services and the managing the
Yep.
people with the agency and all that, I was just really looking for something more passive, but
Mm,
Amazon was my wheelhouse. So it was like,
right.
oh, should I look at like KDP? Should I look at merch? And so
Right.
I was just kind of like putting it out there to the universe. I need something that's easier, that's still related to Amazon, that's going to
Right.
make me money, that, I don't need to get on the phone for 10 hours a day with clients. I was just burnt out of that. And that is when I discovered the Amazon influencer videos. And, I was kind of like, what is this? I saw, I
Mhm.
knew about the brand videos, and then I started seeing these videos of just regular people talking about the stuff they had bought. But these videos were on the Amazon product listing pages. So I
Yeah.
was just very confused at
Yeah.
first, and like, what is happening and who are these
Yep.
people that are on like my clients' product listing pages? So did a little more research, figured out it was the Amazon influencer program. I fortunately was already a part of the Amazon influencer program from like 5 years before, because, before they came out with the video program,
Right.
you could have a brand store. I mean, that's not anything new. You could be
Right.
an affiliate or an associate, which is, different than influencer, but kind of a similar business model, I
Yeah.
guess, where you're selling other people's stuff and getting commission. So that was when I found the influencer program, and I was like, And then very shortly after was when I texted you, like,
Yeah.
Liz, is this too good to be true? Can you just, as my fellow cool Amazon nerd, can you just look at this and make sure I'm not totally insane right now? And
Yeah.
so you verified, oh my gosh, what is this? How can we start doing this? So yeah, then, I really just hit the ground running with it. Once I figured out like a good system for
Yeah.
finding the right products. I mean, obviously I reviewed everything in my house that I've ever
Right.
bought on Amazon.
Of
And
course.
then when I ran out of stuff, it was like, okay, now what? So I've got like, good product research strategy that I really learned from being a seller. So
Yeah.
that was kind of how it all happened. Just a lot of Amazon, a little bit of burnout, and
Yep.
then like, oh my gosh, this this could be it. And here we are.
Yeah. I love that the synopsis is so a whole lot of Amazon, a little bit of burnout, and here we are. Like that might be my favorite sentence of our interview. I actually didn't know that you'd been selling since like books. Like
Yeah.
that's
Oh yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, that's what got me so excited about it, because it was like so easy. We
Yep.
think about Amazon, and I don't think Amazon is easy anymore. I think parts of it are easy.
Sure.
But looking back on the books, like that's what really got me excited. Same with the influencer program.
Yep.
When I first started, it was like, all I have to do is click, I have one to sell, and Amazon's just gonna, the listing's already there, and
Yeah.
someone's just gonna find it and buy from me, and I don't really have to do a whole lot else
Man.
besides ship it.
Yeah.
Cool, and that's, like I said, that's what got me excited, and starting like, then I started seeing other stuff popping up on
Yep.
Amazon when they opened it up to other products and all that, and was like, oh my gosh, you could sell anything on Amazon. Well, the first
Yeah.
thing I did was I went to my boss at the time and was like, we got to get on Amazon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you know? When did they add shoppable videos to product listings?
So from my observation, so I started the first time I noticed it was November of 2021.
Okay.
And that was when I first started kind of getting in the forums and looking. I
Mhm.
mean, there was like no YouTube. There was one YouTube video about it. So I remember texting you being like,
Yeah.
there's literally one YouTube video about the Amazon influencer program.
Right.
And it wasn't bad. I mean, he had actually very good information, just not like a ton of information. It was
Yeah.
like, well, I'm trying this, but from the forum, then I joined the forums on Reddit and all that to try to like connect with other people. And I think, someone had said they've been doing it for like up to a year.
Okay.
So maybe it went back to like
2020.
2020-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's more of a guess than really an observation. Because I mean, I never got an alert, being in the influencer program,
No.
not that I really made any money with it before the shoppable video
Yeah.
opportunity, but yeah, I would say they probably launched it in 2020 at some point, and
That makes
then
sense.
we've just seen a ton of people come in, this past year in
Yep.
2022. So that makes sense. About 2 years later, people are really catching on and
Yeah.
really starting to do it too.
Yeah, it seems kind of like you said, like, okay, so I don't think Amazon is easy anymore. Like, it kind of like seems like every program rides this specific type of journey where it's like, I don't know if you call it blue ocean or wild west, but like when you launched a FBA 3P private label product on Amazon in, let's say, like 2013, you could basically be like, here's my mug, and then Amazon would sell it, right? Like, and people
Hmm.
were making wild amounts of money, right?
Wild money. Oh
Wild
yeah.
amounts of money. And then,
I
like,
know, because I
over
did too.
time, yeah, exactly. Like, over time, like, it's gotten harder, but
Yes.
because they're building out the infrastructure to like support the program long term, right? So then
Yep.
they're also building out like how you do ads and rules to make it, like so that it's not your, seven closest friends able to like take free product for written reviews or whatever the case is. And
Right.
it feels a little like influencer right now is at that kind of like hinge point where we're going a little bit from people have been just making wild amounts of money, and they will continue to with more infrastructure, right? So like Amazon's doing a lot of testing, but I'm curious from your perspective, having watched like selling books, merch, KDP, affiliate, FBA, like how do you feel about like where we are with the influencer program right now? So I'm going to call out it is we're getting ready to start Q4 2023 at the time of this conversation. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a really great question and even better observation, just looking
Mm,
at all the other programs and through the lifespan, right? Like I remember 2023, that was the year that was the year that our sales just went crazy with the
yeah,
supplement business that I was working for. And I remember looking and I would have a big screen up and it was like, the
mm,
first day we did like $30,000 in a day, selling a $50
right.
product. It was like, oh my gosh. And like
Yeah.
I was making commission on that $30,000, So I was like, oh, this is
Woo!
fantastic. Right. But right. Then as the years go on, yes, it becomes more, you get more sellers, right? Just like
Yep.
we're getting more influencers.
Yep.
But I think also that, we all love to, people all love to complain about Amazon and how they're changing everything and how it's not
Yep.
like how it used to be. And oh, are they gonna get rid of Amazon influencer? Like, no, they're definitely not gonna get rid of Amazon influencer. Like,
No.
that'd be like, are they gonna get rid of the Amazon seller program? Like, no, it's
Yeah.
been 12 plus years that they've been doing this. And to your point, they're just building a better infrastructure because now they're seeing what people are doing.
Yes.
Amazon, they love their customers. Their whole business model is built around satisfying their customers, but
Yep.
they also have all these third party, right? Third party sellers, third party influencers. So
Yep.
they don't necessarily know the best way to build their infrastructure until they get a certain amount of people in there
Yep.
doing the thing that they want them to do. And so I think it's good that they're testing. I think they're always going to be testing. So
Hmm.
we just need to roll with it and
Yeah.
stick with it. But I will say, coming up on Q4, it's been a rough month or so, I think, for everyone, just because Amazon's been testing like crazy.
Yep.
Like my clicks have been cut in half over the last 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and my commissions haven't necessarily been cut in half. However, they're much lower, but I look to Q4 and I looked to my numbers
Mhm.
last year in Q4 and even my first year,
Yep.
my first full month, it wasn't even, December of 2021, but that
Yep.
first month I earned for 2 weeks and was just like, well, this is all I want to do for the next,
Yeah.
like I'm going to do this. So
Yep.
I think it's the right progression. I think
Yeah.
Amazon is doing everything that they pretty much planned for. And
Yeah.
I don't think the program is going anywhere. And I think people just
Yeah.
need to kind of roll with the punches and like, I just did a video like the other day that was like, okay, your clicks are going down.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo, go cry in the corner for like 2 minutes and then snap out of it and go create more content,
Yeah.
like, because find the right products and get more videos up there, you're going to make more money. So,
Yep.
like, let's just roll with the punches instead of like, is the program going to go away? No, it's not going to
Yeah.
go away. Not in October of 2023 is it going to go away? No
No.
way.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Well, I'm curious, like for people who are getting started now, right? Because we are seeing an influx of Amazon's doing a lot of recruiting for the influencer
Mhm.
program. So if you were talking to somebody who's getting started this fall, like what are a couple things that you wish you had known like as you got started?
Oh, yes. I love this question. So I think a couple things come to mind. The first thing is video placement. I think this
Mm.
is just a really important thing to know as an Amazon influencer how that works
Mhm.
because my personal success has come from the shoppable videos. I know a lot of people that make
Yeah.
good money from the videos, right? You can do
Mm.
posts, you can do Amazon Live, you can have your storefront. These are all great assets where you can earn. But I think
Mm.
one big thing is just knowing how that video placement works on an
Yep.
Amazon product page and just knowing things like, if there is one video from the brand that opens the carousel for influencers, right? That
Mm.
gives you the
Mhm.
opportunity to get a great placement, right?
Yep.
Whereas if there's not a brand video, you can still make your own video. It's just not going to get seen quite as
Right.
much. So I think really
Right.
just knowing how the video placement works,
Mhm.
where the information ends up on Amazon, because then that helps you create better content in general.
Right.
It's like I'm not going to do like a 20-minute unboxing assembly demo video for Amazon because no one on Amazon is going to watch a 20-minute video about a product
Right.
they're already considering buying.
Right.
Right. So I like to keep it to like 1 to 2 minutes short, highlight the
Mm.
features, show them what I love about the product, and
Yep.
then it goes on the product page. So I think
Yep.
that's like the first big thing that I wish that I knew more about.
Yeah.
I think you and I figured that out together as we went
Yeah.
through, in the
Yeah.
weeks, and we were able to see that observing from our, seller experience.
Yep.
But I think that's huge. So if you're listening right now, you're just getting started, just know that video
Yep.
placements, if there's one video, make
Yep.
another one.
Yeah. Seriously,
um,
please go
yes, yes. Get your videos up quickly. It's
immediately.
almost October.
Yeah. Go, baby, go. Now is the time.
Right,
Q4
right.
is
Now is
coming.
the time. Yes, yes, hustle. But I think kind of leading into that, like my second one, I would say, I really I didn't see this happening
Mm.
until like I was already in the program for a year. But now that more people are in it and more people are teaching about it, it actually really inspired me to teach about it. Just
Yep.
all the misinformation that is out
Yes.
there.
Yep.
And you and I know because we've been in the Amazon seller space for so
Right.
long, Amazon has these very rigid rules when it comes to
Yes.
sellers. And it's the same way with any of their programs.
Yep.
I never doubted it would be the same way with influencers. So, like, the first thing I did when I started creating these videos and I got unlocked and approved and all
Yep.
that was I read through all the terms. What can I do? What can't I do? And
Yep.
like one thing that surprised me was like they don't want you to actually like leave reviews as a customer if you're an
Right.
influencer. That's
Right.
a big no-no. But I didn't know that, right?
Right.
So I was like, oh, should I go delete my reviews? Not that I've
Right.
left a lot, but just knowing like,
Yeah.
the misinformation that's out there. You have people on social media who've been in the program for like 2 or 3 months and they
Yep.
made a few $1,000s and they're like, ooh, I just went to the store and I recorded all these videos and uploaded them to Amazon and now
Yep.
I'm making a bajillion dollars. And like, guess what? They're not making a bajillion dollars because Amazon shut them down because they
Right.
violated their terms, right?
Yep.
Like the whole thing with the misinformation out there right now is you just have to like create honest quality videos,
Yep.
use like with things you have. You can't
Yes.
use screenshots of
Yep.
product listings, you can't go
Yep.
to the store, like also like that's just how are people going to trust you? Like how are you going
Yeah.
to build your brand and build a following on Amazon or anywhere else if you're like, oh, look at this stuff in the store. I love
Yeah.
using this while I'm in the store shopping, right? So
Yeah.
just the misinformation out
Can
there.
can I add to that too? Because I feel
Yes,
like
please.
the misinformation, like one, there's so much of it, and it ends up kind of leading to like people feel like slighted with the testing that Amazon's doing. Like somehow they're, I don't want to use the word entitled because I don't want to be over exaggerative, but it kind of like I would add to that, like zoom up, like, or
Hmm.
zoom out. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like we get, and sometimes I have to leave some of the Facebook groups. I like mute them or whatever it is, because if you spend all your time in every detailed day of how many clicks, how much commission, you can miss the forest for the trees, right? Like,
Yes.
so in addition to that kind of like misinformation and everybody's got a hypothesis. I mean, the truth of the matter is we all have theories on what Amazon's doing. But truly, even like, are they testing or is it a mistake? Like, I don't think it's a mistake. I think they're pretty smart in doing some testing. But the truth of the matter is, even that we don't really know. Like, they haven't come out and said to us. So we're all hypothesizing. And I think knowing that while you're weeding through some of like Reddit threads or Facebook groups or wherever you are finding people talking about it, like if you can zoom out and look at the program as a long term thing, and in that, like talking about like, don't film stuff in stores, don't do terms of service, things against terms of service. If you just always keep it in the front of your mind that Amazon's priority is the shopper.
Hmm.
So when you're creating content, you want to be creating content that helps that shopper have a better buying decision, better buying experience. I think it just kind of like changes your perspective on everything and like puts things back into like, okay, right, got it. I'm going to go keep creating value for customers for Amazon, and then they're going to keep building this program.
Oh, absolutely. And if anyone's watching this, that is the thing. What
Yep.
Liz just said, that is like the one thing that when you're creating content, you just need to remember Amazon just really, really cares about their customers.
Yep.
So if you are creating a good experience for their customers, Amazon's going to reward you for that. If you're
Yes.
not, they're not going to reward you for that. So always, like Liz said, keep the customer in the forefront of your mind. And if you're watching this, you probably shop on Amazon too. So
Yeah.
you are a customer. So, keep that. What would you want to see? Would you want to
Yeah.
see someone recording in the store or screenshots from a listing you're already looking at?
Right.
No, of course not.
Right.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me jump into the things that
Oh
you
my
wish you had
gosh.
known. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we've had so many conversations about this,
Yes.
on the side. It's like, look at this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe someone's teaching this. And now people like think this is true. And I just want to
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah.
no, no, you're only hurting yourself. So I
Yeah,
would say
exactly.
your best resource to find out what's okay on Amazon is go to Amazon. Just
Yes.
go to Amazon and look at their terms. They have a creator hub. They now have a do's and don'ts page. Like they give
Yeah.
good information about what they want and what they don't want. They won't give you a ton of strategy stuff, but
Yeah.
definitely the do's and don'ts. Just if you're not sure, go to Amazon.
And their resources have gotten much better recently.
Yes. Yes.
Much better
Like
recently.
a ton better. And I think it's
Yeah.
because they're seeing a lot of garbage videos coming from people that don't
Yeah.
really, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, but they've learned the wrong way.
Right.
They don't know what they don't know, or they've heard the misinformation. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think too, like, it's interesting because, like, if something feels too good to be true, or it feels like that little whatever that hitch in your like background of your moral compasses goes, mm, like,
Yeah.
even if you can get away with it today, Amazon is notorious for catching on, we'll call it for lack of a better term, and
Yeah.
being like, oh, and when they flip that switch for that is now against terms of service, they will go through and do entire sweeps. And so
Yes.
any of that content that felt like, oh, this is fine, like I'm making a lot of money off of it, I guarantee one day Amazon will just come through and wipe it out. And there's not like then you can go back and recreate content. Maybe if you just got like caught up in something that was not intentional, but if it was already against terms of service, that's where we see bans.
Absolutely. That is such a great point. And I just had, I mean, I have this happen to me all the time, but so I go through my, like, part of the thing that I do to make sure I'm keeping on the up and up with my
Yep.
videos and making sure they're like placed is that I'll go through my old videos and
Mhm.
sort by, are any rejected now, or I'm always doing updates, right? And so like I
Yeah.
have videos now, or that were rejected months and
Mm.
months later. They've been earning, for, I have one that was earning for over a year. I went and did a quick update and it got rejected. And I should have known better because this was something that Amazon changed like
Mm.
around a year ago. But one thing that wasn't in the terms when I first started was kids in the videos.
Oh,
So I
right.
have 3 kids and I would, I don't exploit them, but right. Like
No.
if it's like a Jurassic Park Lego set, I'm
Right.
going to show my 6-year-old putting it together because
Right.
he's the one that's doing it. So I have a few videos that I just had a kid in, and
Mhm.
Amazon then changed that like a year later. So a year after I made some of these videos, they changed their terms, which I love that they changed the terms because I
Yeah.
think this is a great rule. You should not have children in your video unless you appear
In
with
it.
them.
Yes.
Amazon wants to make sure that the adult and the child are together. You can't just post videos of
Yep.
kids, right? Totally understand why that. Obviously, they had issues with it, but it's just not something I thought about
Yeah.
initially. It wasn't in the terms. Well, like I said, I have videos a year later that are now rejected because they just show my kid. And that is like the perfect example of what you're
Yep.
saying. Like it wasn't a thing before.
Yep.
Now it is. Amazon found it and now I have to go and update that.
Right.
So, I like that they're doing that, but I do have to say, like, so there's one more thing that I really wish that I
Mm.
knew that I had before I started the influencer program, because I spent just a ton of time once I reviewed everything in my house, right?
Right.
I spent a ton of time then being like, okay, I know I need to buy a new desk.
Mm.
So I would do the product research on Amazon and I would be like, what is the best desk for me that checks all the boxes for me for what I need, but also is a good review opportunity. So like
Yes.
that's like my recipe for success right there is
Yep.
strategic Amazon buying. And
Mm.
so I spent a lot of time doing this, especially in the early days.
Yeah.
So I do have to say that I wish I had Fluencer fruit way earlier than I did,
Yeah.
because while I did use Jungle Scout, okay, Jungle Scout is very helpful. I really just use
Yes.
the extension for the sales metrics because that will
Mhm.
tell me how many sales are coming in daily, monthly, whatever.
Yep.
Um, but Fluencer fruit, now that I have it, thank you, Liz, for creating this amazing tool for influencers. And if you guys don't have it, you just really need to go check it out, because like I actually stopped counting the, like, after I got it to 100, I stopped counting the amount of hours that it saved me, because it's just like, because I
Nice.
can just go search for the things. I can
Mhm.
use the Fluencer fruit extension, which I use first, and then I just validate which one I decide to buy then with Jungle Scout based on sales.
Nice.
So I wish I had this extension much earlier. I'm so grateful that you've created it and that I have it now. But I do think that, your time is very valuable, whether you
Yeah.
have kids or a job or this is your main thing. Like, your time is very valuable, and
Mm.
the more time you can save on the product research side, the more time you have to create the content that's going to earn
Yes.
you the money. So like that's how
Mhm.
I look at it as far as like paying for tools that help me
Yep.
save time. For me, it's always worth it. That's why
Yeah.
I subscribe to Fluencer Fruit and Jungle Scout, and I have a virtual assistant who
Yeah.
does things like checking videos and all that and helps me edit. But going back to like those rejected videos, I can now use Fluencer Fruit
Oh,
in the
yeah.
creator hub, and I can sort by no carousel, upper carousel, right? So
Right.
that in and of itself saves me a ton of time. I created this system like for my, in a
Mhm.
spreadsheet, and a system for my VA to go do this for me. And now because he can use Fluencer Fruit, like, I mean, it's cut his hours like in half at
Yeah.
least, because it's just right there. It's just time that he doesn't have to spend, I don't have to spend. And so
Yeah.
worth every penny. I wish I had it earlier, but I'm so
I
grateful I have
know.
it now.
Me too. Um, it's interesting because we talked a lot about like what worked on a product listing page early, right? And that was like so foundational to being like, oh, we can automate that. Okay, now I like it's starting to come together for me, which, then prompted the tool, which I'm very excited about. The creator hub like functionality that it brings is so addicting.
It's huge.
like I gotta record the videos for this, the tutorial on how to do like product research from the bestseller pages and how to find, you remember the OG like product research we used to do for like
Oh yeah.
FBA products, right? You go down through so
Oh
I'm
yeah.
doing one right now on like, I found like bestsellers on like the essential oils page that had no other influencers on them. And they were doing like 80,000 sales a month, right?
Nice.
Um, so I just am like creating the content now that like walks through like how I found it and what it's doing and like what the results are, right? Um, but the funniest thing for me was I uploaded like the 6 videos. So the diffuser, like 4 different oils and like whatever else. And then like as soon as they were approved, I was in Creator Hub like watching the Fluencer fruit extension stuff like change real time, which was so cool. The
Yeah.
funniest thing is it helped me and then the developers, the engineers working on it, discover that there's kind of like a staging, like it's like the extension would predict placement 3 hours or so before it would go live. So it would be like,
Wow.
oh, upper carousel. And then I'd go look and I was like, I'm not in the upper carousel. I was like, I'm just going to wait and see what happens because it had changed, right? It said no carousel and then it said upper carousel. I was like,
Yeah.
fascinating. So then like 3 hours later, I went and looked and I was in the upper carousel.
Wow.
So like watching that real time, I was like, I might have a new addiction. Like being able to watch that happen real time was like, I love this so much.
That is so cool and so fascinating that
Right?
you have resources where you can like figure that out. You can see what Amazon is doing
Yep.
before it even happens. I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, we are going to wrap up here in just a second. But what I want to tell everyone is, and this is Kathleen, I want you to know when you're not around, these are the things I say behind your back. So I'm just going to record them in front of you this time. So Kathleen like drips advanced strategies for the influencer program. Like we had a conversation, I think this was 2 months ago, and I was like, what? Like just like within 30 minutes, she had like walked me through 3 product research and like tactics for the influencer program that were like from however many years from books on Amazon until now, just kind of like ooze out of her, like just naturally. She's just sitting around and she's like, oh, I think if I do that, and then all of a sudden it makes thousands of dollars, like wild stuff. So if you're not following Kathleen on her YouTube channel, like I'm going to include it in the notes down below, do all the YouTubey things, go like follow all those things, but like watch some of her videos. And then I'm going to out you on this. I'll edit it out if you're like, no, don't do that.
Go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
like coming this fall at some point, she's going to have like some videos on advanced strategies, but also possibly like a course coming that's going to take you, like if you are up and running, you've done everything in the house, you are working on product research. If like when this launches, I will have you back and we'll talk about it because I am so excited about it. Like, yeah. So Kathleen just kind of like oozes that. So you need to go follow her so that you're ready when she launches.
Well, thank you. I very much appreciate that. No, we are yeah, we're gearing up. We've got the content. So it's pretty exciting. It's really just, yeah, what's that next step? So if you're
Yep.
already an influencer and you're earning some money, it's like what's the next step like to guarantee you're making at least $10,000 a month? And I
Yep.
have lots of strategies that I do to make sure that I'm earning that
Mm-hmm.
because this is what I love doing. This is what pays my bills and my second
Yep.
home now. So,
Yeah, baby. Okay.
it's all good strategy. It's just things that you wouldn't see
Yeah.
unless you've been on Amazon for 12 years like
Yeah,
I have.
exactly.
So I'm grateful I have the knowledge and even
Mm,
more excited to be able to share it with everyone
yes.
because I think there's a lot of opportunity and you're already creating content. So there's just so many other things that you can do with this program that are just not like super
Mm-hmm.
apparent right away.
Yep. Yep. Well, thank you for coming and chatting influencer with me. It's always fun to see you.
Anytime. I love it. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. And yeah, we've got more interviews coming. So I hope you'll stick around.